Thanks everyone for joining us here today. We're here with Colgate head coach Matt Langle. Coach, if you want to, we'll start with you for an opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Certainly. Obviously, thanks to everybody for coming in and joining to be a part of our experience. I've been a fortunate guy as I look at it in coaching. One time as a head coach, a handful of times as assistant coach, and a couple times as a student athlete to participate in the NCAA tournament. I think it's one of the fantastic events, sporting events certainly, but really events that our country puts on. And so as I've traveled across the world, I think not enough people know everything that goes into this. And so we're absolutely feel honored to represent the Patriot League and our institution and our department, to be a part of this tournament. The truth is, this is unlike any other experience. There's some new things that are kind of neat, meaning there's, I think, 13 or 14 other teams in our hotel, all on different floors, and you see a variety of different people that you've seen, have successes across the country, walk in the different hallways. But the pageantry and the fans and the people is certainly missing. We were whisked away in just hours after winning the championship to quarantine by police escort on 3 buses when we landed at the airport. So just some crazy things that I think, emphasize the year that it's been for everybody, and certainly our student athletes in college basketball. I believe that we've got a great team. This has been an extraordinary group of guys to work with. We've had 85 practices, even though we've only played 5 different opponents and however many games we've played. But they've worked incredibly hard together for one another to have this opportunity. And so I'm really fortunate to be a part of their journey and excited for them to have this experience and this opportunity on Friday afternoon.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start. Mario, are you good?
I'm good. Yeah, thanks, Coach. First off, good seeing you. Congratulations. I know I didn't get to talk to you after the Patriot League championship, but how does the team assess, playing an Arkansas team? Do you feel like you're playing with house money now? You accomplished one goal, or do these guys still feel like there's some unfinished business left?
I think there's been excitement for this group, literally 70 days ago when everything ended in such rapid fashion and they vacated campus and got back to their homes. I think the first thing that they all thought about once they knew, their immediate families and they were, healthy and safe was, what do we need to do to get back together to try and do whatever we can to get ready for the future. And so that's been their mentality from, for a long stretch here. And I think that that continues to be their mentality is what is the next opportunity that we have and what do we need to do? I don't think it's house money. I think that a number of these guys had a chance to do this and play against a phenomenal Tennessee team a couple years ago and did really well. That game went right down to the wire. And I think that they're excited to continue to learn about Arkansas and to prepare as we have for the other opponents that have been on our schedule this season.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Nico, are you all set?
I am all set. Thank you, Jordan. And Coach, great to see you as well, and glad you guys got safely to Indy. You kind of led perfectly into this question here, the experience against Tennessee in 2019, where you honestly almost had it. What did that show the guys, especially the upperclassmen on your team, about the experience, of March Madness and going against, again, another SEC team here in Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of being the team who hasn't played against, as much length and speed and athleticism and, high-level talent across the board is adjusting to the pace of the game, the speed of the game, the size of the opposition. I think this group, certainly those who experienced that a couple of years ago, that helps. Just like, when you play against Syracuse during the regular season, that helps you understand, that the guy you're going against, if he sticks his arms out, he's going to deflect a pass that, the guy in your conference isn't going to deflect. So, I think that certainly will help in that environment. I think it's helped us, every day since then. The guys have an understanding and a confidence and a connectedness that when they play together, they're capable of playing with anybody that there is. Every game's different, though. Every game takes on its own personality, and they're also aware of that. So, I think it'll be critical to find the rhythm of Friday afternoon's game and try and get adjusted as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, let's go with Bob Holt here from Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Yeah, it's not political. It's just the name of the paper. But, hey, Coach, congratulations.
Thanks, Bob.
Hey, Jordan Burns, I got to admit, I didn't know a whole lot about him, but I know he torched Tennessee for 32. I know he's a hell of a player. How would you, if you were given a scouting report, obviously without giving away secrets, how would you describe him? And the fact he lit up Tennessee, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, it tells me he's an extremely talented guy. I think you've got one of them in JD Note, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He, Jordan is he was recruited where he was because he's not the tallest guy. He's not, he's not the most athletic guy, but he's a terrific basketball player, and he's been able to score points in all different conferences. Broke the assist record at Colgate University. But besides his talent and his abilities to, shoot from behind the basket, get to the rim, has a great mid-range game, involve his teammates. He's got some intangibles that you just don't find in young people all the time. I mean, I think the guys rally around his confidence, certainly his work ethic. He's improved immeasurably over his career. And, we're lucky in today's day and age. I think a lot of guys like him would have said, you know what, people missed out on me. I'm going to take my game and go somewhere else. And so, there have been games where, he has been able to score 30 or more points, but there's also been games where, he's really helped us win by getting 11 or 13 and 6 or 7 or 8 assists and a couple steals and, doing a lot of other things. So, we're really lucky to have him. And, it's not a coincidence that we've been to 4 straight championship games in our conference, in large part because of he's the guy with the ball in his hands a lot of the time.
You brought up Note. He was a sixth man of the year in the SEC. He only started one game at Auburn. He really didn't play very well. And, Eric, he's a transfer portal guy. He was at Jacksonville, you probably know. And, Eric's been harping on his shot selection and defense and passing and all this, and he seems to finally have really played well these last few games. What have you seen from Note, and what kind of challenge could he be the way he's been playing of late?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a dynamic talent. If you just watching the Missouri series of games, for example, one game he's kind of quiet, and a lot of other guys helped them to victory in that game. But I think the last one he might have had 26 in that game.
It was actually 27.
27. So, he can go off on his own explosive scoring ability. So I think it speaks to his talent. He's a dynamic player, and, he can get going. Shot selection, good shots are the ones that go in the basket a lot of the times. And he can, create for himself and his teammates, and, he can single-handedly change the tide of a game.
And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the last time Arkansas played a Patriot League team in a tournament, 2006, was Bucknell. Bucknell beat Arkansas in Dallas, and what essentially was like a home game for Arkansas. Is that something you're aware of? Is that something you talk to your kids about?
Yeah, that's a long time ago. I think we might have, we've got some guys who didn't even know what the NCAA tournament was when that game happened, probably. But it's certainly, and I think if you go back and look, that game was probably in the 50s.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that, that Bucknell team was really good. I think that's the similar comparison, that they had some really good guards who could, make some three-point shots and control the tempo of the game. And, I remember watching that game myself as I was just getting into coaching. But I think our guys have been in enough games, whether it was winning at Cincinnati last year or the Tennessee game, or the games that they've played against Syracuse at the Dome over the years, that they understand that if they can execute and do the job, and that we can play with anybody.
Yeah, I got a couple more, but I'll turn it back to the beat guys. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Bob. Mark Larson with Spectrum.
Yep. Thank you. Hey, Coach. I hope you had a chance to check out one of those movies I told you about.
Not yet, Mark. Not yet.
Okay. I know you're busy. So you just mentioned your team's played in big games before. So you have experience. You have that special player like Jordan Burns. You guys make your free throws. You're disciplined. You're smart. You've been in tournaments. You've coached. You've seen a lot of tournaments. What do you think it takes to be that Cinderella team, or to make that run, to pull that upset? And do you think your team has that?
I think it takes everything that you just mentioned. And then it takes, a certain bit of luck. Like, the game has to go in a manner that, the ball's going in the basket for you. You're avoiding foul trouble at critical positions, and maybe, the other team isn't. They're and then they start to press a little bit or feel the stress of the game. I think that there's a lot goes into. I like to tell our guys the game is extremely fragile, and a game changes on a single play or a single call. And so, you can't always control that, but what you can control is putting your best foot forward and sticking to, a game plan and the principles, and believing in yourselves and one another. And so I do think that, again, if you play the right game and it happens to be the right day, that, it's the magic of this tournament is going through that. And, we've all seen it plenty of times. So I certainly think that our depth, and that different guys have showed up, that we don't rely on just one guy or just one thing to have success is positions us well.
All right. Can we go with Steve from Associated Press?
Thank you. I was just wondering, both you and Arkansas like to play at a pretty fast pace. I was just wondering, first, what's gone into your philosophy about playing kind of an up-tempo style? And is there any concern about this particular matchup, or if you play at that fast pace, that maybe you're playing into Arkansas's hands a little bit, or how much of a concern is that?
Yeah, it's a large concern. I'll answer the first part of the question first, Steve. I think that we believe our coaching philosophy is that this is a player's game, and so as coaches, we were all former players. We need to take the guys that we have and try and best position them for success. It so happens that this group that we have now, we have a number of talented guards, experienced guards. We have some depth at the guard position. And multiple guys who can not just handle the ball to get it down the court, but are good decision makers. And so, we decided early on as we were working with them that, it's certainly easier to attack a defense that's backing up on their heels and trying to transition the floor than it is a defense that's, set in their coverages and go from there. And the other thing is, no young people want to walk the ball down the court in today's day and age and look over and say, hey, coach, what play are we running? And me to run play number 5, option 2 side. Like that's not fun. And I find that players do better when they're enjoying what they're doing. So, but in order to do that for us, I don't know how much you budget, our defense has to be there. And I think that a big part of, our scoring and our possessions, high number of possessions and playing fast has been that we've been able to stop the opposition. We're not one of those teams that when the other team makes a basket that we're firing it inbounds and flying it down the court and scoring in the first 7 seconds. That's not how we're built. So, I think that Arkansas has been in a number of games in that way, that they're trying to get up and down and up and down and up and down, makes and misses in every scenario. So I think that's where our the numbers identify us as similar in that capacity, but I think style of play is slightly different. But obviously, if we can't stop them, it's going to be hard for us to play to get transition opportunities. So. And I think that if they're able to get up and down and attack the basket and get a lot of early open 3-point shots, then certainly that doesn't play into our hands.
All right, Donna Datota from Syracuse,
Matt,
post-standard.
how are you?
Hey, Don.
I've got a question. You talked a little bit about Cinderellas, and generally speaking, what Cinderellas need in this tournament is to have a little bit of depth. You have to have an ability if somebody gets in foul trouble or if somebody turns an ankle or something, and that's something you guys have had this year. Could you speak a little bit to the depth of your team?
Yeah, thanks for that. You've watched over the last decade. I traditionally have not played 10 players. More like 6.5 to 7, maybe an eighth guy gets a couple of minutes, but we've got a lot of deserving guys, and so I had a deal, and I didn't have the non-league schedule and exhibitions and scrimmages and non-league games to try and figure it out, but we played 10 guys in game one, and we have ever since, and so I do think that that's important. The other thing that's important is for us that, Jordan Burns and Nellie Cummings and Tucker Richardson, in the past that they've played 35, 36, 37 minutes, that wears on any player. They all want to play that. I've had to deal with them being like, Coach, I'm ready to go back in. I'm ready to go back in. But I do think that, the bench play, whether it's Jeff Woodward at the center spot, Oliver Lynch Daniels on the perimeter, it's changed our look too. They're not all the same players, and we play a little bit different when different guys are in the game. So I think it's given us some depth, but also some versatility in how we play, and it's been a big part of our season for sure. Thanks, Don.
And you're good with Jeff the rest of the way?
Yeah, we're good with Jeff.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Matt, good to see you. Speaking
Jeff?
of Jeff, I know you guys had high expectations for him coming in. How do you feel like he performed his freshman year?
Yeah, he's one of the most unique players that I've come across. I think what makes him unique as a player is really his comfort with himself at a young age of who he is off the court. I think you know him as well as anybody, but he's like a super intelligent guy who's also a big goofball, and he has no problem hamming it up with the older guys and asking the coaches difficult questions or making a recommendation on the court to a coach. And he's usually right, which speaks to his best asset as a basketball player is his intelligence. And you don't usually say that about guys who are 6'9", 6'10", 260 pounds. He sees the game a play ahead. You don't have to tell him things twice. He really has been a sponge in his learning curve, which is incredible for first-year guys. And he's an extraordinary passer. I think that again, for a young guy to come in, and Keegan Records was all rookie team and all conference tournament, for Jeff to come in, and there's been games where we had him out there to finish the game because of the type of game he's having. He's given us a super boost and a legitimate, for us in the Patriot League, we've got two guys who are 6'10", 240, 6'10", 260. Like, you put those two guys' numbers together, and from the center spot, we've got a first team all league performance day in, day out. So he's been a huge part of that.
Yeah, when you guys don't have someone 7'3", what's the specific challenge for guarding Vanover?
Yeah, he's a unique guy. Obviously, at 7'3", with his length and his three-point shooting, it's something that we'll introduce to our guys on film. Presents some schematic problems. We've played against some pick and pop guys, but not necessarily at that position, at that size. So, it's something that's a little bit unique in how he's able to protect the rim. But again, our guys have been extremely good learners and prepared extraordinarily well based on the game plan and the film and the preparation. And I would anticipate that they'll be ready to do the same for Friday's game.
Thanks, Matt.
We've got time here for just a few more. We'll try to get to everyone here. We can start with Kevin Fielder from fifth quarter.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for taking the time out of, I'm sure a busy schedule. But, those last two games in the conference tournament, you guys really hit your threes well. And, going into a tournament like this, how important is it for you guys to carry that momentum against a good Arkansas team?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cliche and it's kind of obvious, but I don't care who you are. If you're going to win in this tournament and achieve your dreams, and all, you have to make shots. Like nobody nobody does well in March if they're not making shots. And certainly the way we're built, we have to make shots in order to play our best, because, you know, doesn't have to just be 3-point shots. We're going to try and take what the defense gives us, but we do have a lot of guys who can make 3-point shots, and we like to move the ball. And if we can shoot an open 3-point shot, that's what we want to do. If it doesn't go in, it's going to be a difficult challenge to find a way to win the game. We certainly have to make shots and be consistent in making shots to, you know, be where we want to be on Friday afternoon, late in the game.
Appreciate that, Coach.
All right, we've got Scott from Maroon News. Scott?
How's it going, Matt? Yeah, we're Colgate Maroon News. We're both juniors at Colgate. So we were wondering, so you probably don't pay much attention to this, but Colgate's been getting a lot of attention on the national scale. And like this year, you guys have been consistently top 10 in the net rankings. And you're like a high scoring team, top scoring team in the country. And you guys have been a popular upset pick for many bracketologists. So I was just wondering how it feels to be recognized nationally and to be getting all this national attention.
Yeah, I mean, the bracketology, it's funny when you're not in the NCAA tournament, you got nothing else to do, and you're spending a lot of time watching all the pundits and enjoying the fanfare. When you're in it, you have no idea what anybody's saying. So I think it speaks to our guys and their experience and the history, meaning like how we've performed in the past and over the last 4 years, that people are saying, oh man, this is a really good team. They might be able to win. And so I think that's nice for our guys. The net ranking is, I mean, you guys are smart guys there. If you're studying at Colgate University, obviously, it's a little bit of a you know, a mathematical outlier because of, you know, we didn't have non-conference games. Army and Navy did have a few non-conference games. They did well in those non-conference games. You know, Navy beating Georgetown, Army beating Buffalo, who's a good team, playing Florida really close, and then we beat Army 3 out of 4 times and only lost by 2, and Army beat Navy. And so, you know, as you run the algorithm, it spits you back out something that, you know, doesn't necessarily identify what everything else that everybody looks at in the country. So it's been interesting to have those conversations, you know, across the country, whether it's the Wall Street Journal or Yahoo Sports or whoever it is that's kind of talking about the scheduling in the net. You know, obviously I don't think it affected the seeding very much for the NCAA tournament, and it'll be in what's been a crazy year. It'll be a little bit of an asterisk star about, you know, a trivia question, Trivia Pursuit. Scott, you should look up the history of Trivia Pursuit if you don't know it already, specific to Colgate University, Scott.
All right, we've got time here for one more question. Scotty Borderline.
Hey, Coach. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Moses Moody's game, just from what you've seen on tape. And then Jalen Williams in the front court. He's a freshman who's made a pretty big impact for Arkansas, but he hasn't been playing lately.
Yeah, I'll start with Williams. Obviously, you know, gives them another, you know, dynamic talent at his size, at his athletic ability. You know, he's shown some signs of being able to step out and make a shot. You know, the rim protector, the true big guy. I think that he's got a bright future ahead of him. The other guy, you know, he's a special talent. And I think as you look at guys who are, you know, prospective lottery picks, you know, it's often based on their potential because of athletic ability and size and so many other things. I think that, you know, as we study Moody, he's just a terrific basketball player. I mean, not only is he dynamic in scoring at 3 different levels and have that size and length, but he just understands the game. You know, he reads the defense. He can get you when he sees you off balance. He's not predetermining what he's going to do and relying on the physical tools that he does have. You know, he's seeing what's the defense is giving him and how they're playing them and taking advantage of those things. So for a young guy, I think, you know, the way I watch the game and have a passion for the game, he's an extraordinary player.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Coach, thank you as always.
All right. Thanks, Jordan.
Matt Langle.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
We'll have Jordan Burns on here in just a minute. We'll let him get set up, and just to make sure, does everyone have access to record? Everybody good? All right.
Hey, Steve, are you still with AP?
Yeah, I'm based in Milwaukee now instead
Okay.
of Knoxville.
Oh, you're
I'm
doing
just, we have some people doing like utility duty at the NCAA tournament, just helping out in various things. And I'm
okay.
one of, but
I
yeah,
just
I'm the
curious.
Milwaukee guy. I'm no longer
Okay.
with SEC.
Okay. I thought you were in Nashville, but you're in Knoxville. Okay. That's how I saw you in Nashville at the tournaments.
Well, I would help out Teresa if there for like SEC tournament or things like that when we needed more than one person on duty.
I
But
thought you had
Teresa's
to have extra people there because it's the capital and all that. So, okay, well, that's cool. It's good to see an old SEC face.
yeah. You had a fun team to cover this year.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting. Eric's a good guy to cover.
And even some football even had some little more excitement than usual.
Well, yeah, they may beat the Vols. Don't need the excitement they're having at Tennessee.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad I was not there.
Anybody else in Indy here? Just us. Bob, I think some of the radio guys from Arkansas reached out from Arkansas. We've got, there's another person from Arkansas who reached out to one of the newspaper stations, I think. I don't know. Quite a few requests. All right, we're here. We've got Jordan Burns, senior guard, Jordan Burns. Jordan, I know you were here kind of for the end of that, but we'll open it up for questions here, and we'll get to as many as we can. How about we go in reverse order this time? Or I guess as best as we can. So we'll start with Josh Verlin.
Hey Jordan, how you doing? Josh Verlin from City Basketball Love here in Philly. I just wanted to ask about Jeff Woodward. Comes in as a freshman. What were your thoughts on his freshman year and the impact he's had on the program?
Jeff, he's great. He's a great person, I think, first of all, just to be around. He's a guy who comes in, he works hard, doesn't complain at all. Never seen him complain, even when, he was COVID contact traced and he had to stay in a hotel for 10 days. Not one day did he complain. He found ways to get work in and work out. And, that kid, he's special. He's going to be special in this league.
I mean, I've seen him since his freshman year in high school, and the one thing that always stuck out to me, other than his size, is his ability to pass the ball. When was that something you realized that was a strength of his? Was there like a moment where it like caught you off guard or anything like that?
Yeah, I think as we got closer to the season, and as we inch closer to January, we started to see it happen in practice, and I don't think we kind of knew how great he could actually be. And as we started to see he could really pass the ball, we started using him more in the middle of the floor. And he was able to kind of dictate more, I think, as a big man than, we've had in previous years.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right, thank you. And we've got Kevin Fielder here.
Hey, Jordan, Kevin Fielder with Fifth Quarter. You know, 2 years ago, you guys came really close to beating Tennessee and, you know, just 7 points away from doing so. In your guys' mind, what does it take to be that Cinderella team during the tournament?
Yeah, it takes a lot. You know, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of concentration. You know, a lot of really studying the other team, and also, you know, just a bit of luck, letting the ball go in the basket a little bit. I think that's a big thing. Obviously, you got to make shots, but yeah, I think all those things just go into it. I think that, you know, when you get into the game, you got to make sure that you stay focused on every single possession. You can't get ahead of yourself. Try to think what's going to happen in the next half or, you know, in the next 10 minutes. You just got to focus on each possession, and that's what we're going to do.
And, you know, what do you remember from that Tennessee game?
A lot, you know, a lot. I remember, you know, just coming in at halftime, being down, I think it was 12, and coach just telling us, you know, we're going to work through this. Don't get too down on ourselves. We're going to go possession by possession. And that's what we were able to do second half. We were able to inch back in the game and, you know, come close to knocking off a team like Tennessee, who, you know, at that point in time was one of the best teams in the country.
Appreciate that, Jordan. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. And we've got Donna from the Post-Standard in Syracuse.
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
I'm doing good, Donna. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So I asked your coach about your depth this season. It seems like you've got 9 or 10 guys who play most games. And how has that allowed you to sort of keep some of your reserve energy instead of having to go all out, you know, for 38 minutes in a game?
Yeah, it's been great. I think it's allowed our team to actually play defense at a way higher level, knowing that we have subs and knowing that, you know, we can come off the floor for, you know, 10 minutes and things like that. So I think that's really helped. Obviously, the guys that come off the bench can actually hit shots as well, too. So that helps a lot when, you know, you don't have to be in the game in order to get a lead. Our guys really, everybody's been working this whole time. And luckily we've had, you know, a stretch where we didn't have to play because we didn't have non-conference. So everybody was kind of getting used to playing with everybody. And I think that helped a lot.
Thank you.
All right, Mario Sacco.
Jordan, congrats on a Patriot League title. At the beginning of the season, you told me you had a checklist of goals that you wanted to check off. Well, you pretty much accomplished all of them. But do you guys feel now that you're playing with house money, or do you look at, I still have goals left to accomplish, and we want to go out there and, you know, give it our best shot and pull off this upset against Arkansas?
Yeah. I think overall as a team, we're not looking at this as, you know, a house money game. I think we are playing, you know, obviously with a little bit of that, but at the same token, we're playing to win. We're not coming in this game, you know, thinking we're going to lose. I think it's a little bit different than it was 2 years ago going in with Tennessee, knowing how good Tennessee was and knowing how hard it was going to be in that game, just with guys like, you know, Grant and, you know, Schofield and things like that. So we knew how powerful that team was. This team, though, I think for us, because we're so deep, because we're able to play at the pace we're able to play at, we feel very confident in playing, you know, high major teams. And because we didn't get the chance to do that early in the season and show people how good we were, now this is a chance that we can actually, you know, be on this stage and show everybody what Colgate basketball is about.
Thanks, Jordan, as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mario. Mark?
Hey, Jordan, good to see you again. Love the mask. This is why you came back, right? You know, you considered going pro just like a year ago, and this is why you came back. So how, in your mind now, how do you see this playing out?
Man, yeah. It's great. You know, it's great that, you know, I was able to come back and do this, but I see, you know, a win. You know, obviously I'm a competitor. I believe that, you know, the work that we've put in will result in a W. I never believe, you know, we're going to go into a game to lose. You know, I believe that we're ready to go. I think that our coach is going to, you know, devise a game plan for us that is going to put us in the best position to succeed. And I feel like, you know, we're going to go out there, play our hardest, and, you know, we'll leave it all on the floor.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. We've got Nico. You all set?
I'm all set. Thank you. Jordan, I wanted to kind of take a look big picture, especially since in your time with Colgate, you know, 2 NCAA tournament bids, I mean, this program has really grown quite a bit in your time with the program. What does it mean to you? I know you still have work to do coming up on Friday and maybe beyond whatever, but what does it mean to see the growth that's been had with the Raiders program since you've been involved?
It means a lot. When I first came here and I committed, and Will Raymond was my guy, and one thing that we said we wanted to do was turn this thing around. We wanted to make Colgate basketball something special. We knew we were two great players that didn't have the recruitment that we should have had, and because of that, we wanted to tear up the college basketball world. And so I think coming into the Patriot League, having a chance to get a great education and play at this level with a coach like Coach Langle, we were able to do some special things, and hopefully it can continue.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nico. We've got Steve from the AP.
Just wondering, the pace y'all play at, how much has that helped you during the season against Patriot League opponents? And obviously Arkansas plays at a really fast pace too. I was just wondering what you thought about that matchup. Y'all going against their kind of fast pace there.
Yeah, obviously I think our coaches, for the game plans that we've had during the Patriot League schedule, for us, it benefited us to play faster, to get more shots up, and try to run the score up. And, we didn't believe that a lot of teams had guys like ours where we could, score in a bunch of different ways every single night. When going against Arkansas, obviously we're going to have a different game plan. It's not a Patriot League team. It's not to say we won't do what we do, but we just may look a little different. I think that obviously Arkansas, they're a great team. They have a lot of great guys. They're super athletic. They can play above the rim, and that's something that our league doesn't really have. But also their league doesn't have a team that shoots threes at the rate that we do and makes shots at the rate that we do. So I think, for us, we're going to have a good chance to go in here and, compete with a very good team and possibly get an upset.
Thanks, Steve. We've got Bob Holt from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. And Bob, if we could limit it to one question so we can get to everybody, that'd be great.
Okay. And, Jordan, your coach was just saying a lot of guys in your situation, he didn't say transfer portal, but I think that's what he meant, that we're under recruited, they do real well, and then they say, okay, I'm going to go to a Big Ten school or a big SEC school or something. Did you ever consider that? And, just how'd you feel about it? Or did you say, hey, man, I'm a Colgate guy all the way?
Yeah, not really. I think it's good for the guys that do get a chance to go and show how good they are. Guys that were in my situation that, didn't get recruited at a high level and are able to jump up and do that. But I feel like at Colgate, I had a job that I wanted to get done. I feel like that, transferring up for me wasn't going to show people how much better I was as a player. I believe that, that this education that I'm able to get with this degree means a lot more than a lot of people's degrees in the country. And I don't think a lot of people think in that, aspect of it. And I did. And so I really didn't believe that I wanted to leave. I felt like we had a great coach. I felt like we had a great team. And, the surrounding area around me, I love being at Colgate. It allowed me to focus a lot more on my basketball skill and education just because it's not a big surrounding area. It's not a big city or anything like that. We got a city of 2,000 or 3,000 people. So, it's allowed me to get to a level that I don't think I would be able to achieve at every school in the country. So I was blessed to be able to be in this situation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else? Anybody else with a question for Jordan?
I got another if nobody else does. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jordan, what was it like scoring 32 on Tennessee? A lot of people don't do that, especially that team. Rick Barnes is known for his defense, and just I know that was a couple years ago. How does that translate into confidence for playing Arkansas for you and your teammates?
Yeah, it was great, having that type of outing, having my team behind me and constantly, giving me the ball and feeding me confidence. So for me, it was great, and I think it did help my confidence going into the next year. And, I think it's continued to roll over. I think once you have a big game like that, you kind of start to lose nerves in, other games. So I think for me, it's helped settle me down kind of and get into games and feel more comfortable. And, yeah, I think now, obviously, it's a big game. It's an NCAA tournament game. I'm always ready for it. Like I said, I'm a competitor. So, I'm ready to go out there and show what I'm made of, whether, it was Arkansas or, Morehead State, whoever we got to play. So I think that I'm ready for the moment regardless. And I'm glad that, I did have 32. It did help my confidence. But I've always been a pretty confident guy. I'm confident in the work that I put in. And I believe that, I'm a top tier guy. So.
And I'm curious, say you weren't heavily recruited. Who else offered you besides Colgate?
Hey Bob, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to move on.
Okay.
I'm sorry. If
Okay. Thank you.
we can help connect you with any more questions. If you need anything else, we want to make sure we get to everybody here. Mark Larson.
Hey, Jordan, I just had one more question. This is obviously unlike any tournament, any experience you've been through. You guys are going to be in Indy all week long instead of just a few days before, going to class. You're still doing that kind of stuff. So how do you think this week is going to factor into when it comes game time? Is it going to be even bigger? Is it going to still feel weird? What's your feeling on how this is all going to play out?
I mean, honestly, for us, we've been kind of like this massive quarantine for the whole year. We really don't do much. Our guys don't go anywhere. We don't really move around campus too much just because we get COVID tested 3 times a week. And, we're trying to do everything we could to keep this season going. So for us, this isn't that different from being at home. It's actually a little bit better. You got a little more scenery outside your window that you don't see all the time. So I've never been to Indy. So, this is a cool experience. Obviously, we don't get to experience the way that, I thought we would be able to, obviously, without COVID. But it is great. It's great to be here. And I think, yeah, it's going to help when we get on the court. I think we're more focused, just being around each other even more. And, we'll be ready to go when game time comes.
Thanks, Mark. Any more questions for Jordan? We've got time for one more probably here. Everybody good?
I had one more. I was just wondering who else offered you out of high school?
Yeah, really nobody. I had a D2 in Midwestern State, which is in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is about 5 hours away from San Antonio. So it was really just between Colgate and Midwestern State. Nobody else had offered me coming out of college or high school.
So do you feel pretty good? You proved that there should have been more interest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely proved, I think, to a lot of people that, they should have gave the offer when they had a chance. But, I think this was a blessing to have one offer. You can only go to one school anyway. So I'm glad I didn't have, to try to make a bunch of choices. I kind of just decided on the one school that was there. So.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
Thanks, Bob. Everybody all set?
Yep. Thanks, Jordan. Good luck, Jordan.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Good to see you guys.